TYTSports top 10 attacking midfielders in the world. Don't worry, we're going to be throwing up defensive midfielders tomorrow. But as for now, we're going to talk about attacking midfielders, courtesy, starting off with a list we received from ESPN FC, which we'll go to. Jason Rubin joining me here, Francis Maxwell. So let's take a look at our relative feather rufflers. I call them all the time, but I've not got another name, because this is what they do. They're obviously putting up this list to stir the shit, basically, because this list is... Who's making this list? I need to know who's making this list. I watched a video on ESPN FC, and the guys who are told to respond to it are actually saying, who's doing this? Who made this list? Who's doing this for us? Because you're giving us a bad name.
Well, so here's the thing. It does give us something to debate, which we do love doing, and then we want to create that debate down in the comments section. And we're also keeping it within like the boundaries of what they gave us to debate. So like some of these players I know you're going to mention might not be considered attacking midfielders or where they play, but for debate's sake and for fun purposes, leave all of your disbelief behind, come into this clip, take the list for what it's worth, and then talk to us down in the comments.
Talk to us about it. And I do want to touch on one point, Jason, here, is what we said. It's kind of like a disclosure thing. I think that trying to differentiate between attacking and defensive midfielders these days is becoming harder and harder. That's why there's some examples on both of these lists that we'll touch on that I don't think should be on either list, because I think if you're a centre midfielder and you provide goals and assists, you're an attacking midfielder. If you're a if you're a centre midfielder that sticks to defending, maybe they'll grab a couple of goals here and there, but their main job is defending, like a Matic. Yeah, that's like a defensive midfielder. So let's look at the list here, which they have provided. So we're throwing out a couple of times. Let's see who is our top 10. Number 1, Eden Hazard. Number 2, Kevin De Bruyne. Number 3, Cesc Fabregas. Number 4, James Rodriguez, who missed half the season injured. Number 5, David Silva. Number 6, Thomas Muller. 7, Cazorla. 8, Gareth Bale, who in my mind is never going to be considered an attacking midfielder. He is a winger. Number 9, Andres Iniesta. And number 10, Raheem Sterling. Again, maybe the same argument as Gareth Bale.
Even when I saw this list, I was like, that cannot be right.
Yeah, so I just think that, I don't know if ESPN is going to come out with the best wingers in the world, because they're trying to, I watched it and they're like...
ESPN knows what a winger is.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we'll just narrow it down to attacking midfielders are people who play in the midfield, maybe the midfield 5 or 4 or midfield 3, who just attack, who are attacking midfielders. That's the only way to kind of differentiate. Yeah, give them a soul. So
send them to battle.
Number 1, Eden Hazard, is a safe assumption. He is number 1 for me. He's been instrumental in Chelsea's season, and I think that he deserves to be considered the number 1 attacking midfielder in the world at this moment. Any arguments?
No, I mean, he was named Premier League Player of the Year. His second half of form was beauty.
Yeah, it's
not bad. You know that's not bad.
Scottish impersonation.
It wasn't Scottish, it was something, but it wasn't bad.
Number 2 is Kevin De Bruyne. All right, so this guy who said this is either a huge Ron Weasley fan, or he just likes to try and promote the underdog. Like, don't get me wrong. Kevin De Bruyne is a good player. He is not the second best attacking midfielder in the world. No, I put him in my top 10. I think he gets in there for the way how he's been influential this season, but he's not number 2. Are you joking me? I'm getting my voice so high-pitched I can't even believe what's been said here. All right, so with him at number 2, I'm like, I'm trying to think, because it's hard again to differentiate, because you've got so many players. I think you've got to consistently have Andres Iniesta in there, just because he's not the same Iniesta that we've seen in the World Cup winning team of Spain.
He had some beautiful runs though
this year. He's still instrumental in Barcelona. The team is in the Champions League final. They just won La Liga. Why is he sitting at number 8?
So, in Kevin De Bruyne's defense, he deserves recognition. Yeah. Maybe not as number 2, but as I was looking up before, look who Eden Hazard plays alongside with. Some of the best back four that can distribute the ball forward, especially on counterattacks, which set up a lot of Eden Hazard goals and assist opportunities. Second to that, Kevin De Bruyne plays alongside, I mean, Luis Gustavo, Luis Gustavo, sorry.
Luis Gustavo.
And Calgary and Andre Schürrle and all these guys, they're not to the level that Barcelona and Chelsea players are at. Agreed. So put Kevin De Bruyne on Barcelona, maybe he is the number 2 or number 3. But you have to look at who he's playing alongside, and I think that that's where ESPN, to understand their logic with it, is they're just giving him a little bit of credit. No, not number 2, especially with, if we throw back to the list, I think 3, I mean, Cesc Fabregas, maybe 4 years ago, not this year, but like David Silva, I'd put ahead of Kevin De Bruyne. I thought David Silva had a great year. Thomas Muller consistently has been a great attacking midfielder.
So this is where we need to just start to change it up a bit again with who we consider to be attacking midfielders, wingers, whatever, and just kind of break the barriers and have attacking players in there. Robin would be in my list, but Again, he's suffered a lot of injuries this season, so you can only take it this year.
You're just only
Ribery
taking
as well.
all the guys.
Yeah,
Iniesta, Robin.
And I think that you're right with Thomas Muller. He's probably got the cloudiest position because sometimes he's a striker. Sometimes he's a right winger. Sometimes he's an attacking midfielder. But I agree that he needs to come high on the list. James Rodriguez needs to come down because he hasn't played enough. He's not been instrumental enough in Real Madrid's season to be considered a great attacking midfielder. And the one point I want to make here, you see tomorrow on a defensive midfielder list that Paul Pogba is a defensive midfielder. 8 goals and 2 assists this season. He plays next to Pirlo, Marquisio and Vidal. So if they just get a team of 4 defensive midfielders then, according to this statistic that puts him as a defensive midfielder, no. He's one of the most attacking out of their midfield pairing because Pirlo sits so deep. Marquisio's box to box, so is Vidal. And Pogba is responsible for holding possession and supporting the attack going forward. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's a centre midfielder, but happens to provide a lot attacking and defensive. So for me, he's not considered a defensive midfielder in this situation.
I guess we could create our own top 10 box-to-box players.
Box-to-box midfielders. Maybe we could create that. But per this list, I would put Pogba in this list in the top 5.
What about your boy? And I know he's your boy because you mentioned him multiple times on Tactics, Oscar.
Yeah, I think Oscar's a good
not top 10
attacking midfielder. I wouldn't say top 10. I think that he's changed his game a lot this year. He's become more physical. He's adapted to Jose Mourinho's style of play, and you have to if you want to play under Jose Mourinho because he won't play you if he doesn't think that you're the same standard that he should be. And he's a good midfielder. I don't think he makes my top 10. Fabregas absolutely makes it for the assists he provided this year because you're a great
top 5.
I don't know. I think maybe it's really hard, especially this year. I think Rakitic deserves admiration in there as well because, again, similar to Iniesta, has provided a lot in terms of assists, and people consider him a defensive midfielder. What is Biscuit? What is Biscuits then? Is he
what is Biscuit?
What is Biscuits?
An
Oreos?
You put it in the microwave and you eat it for breakfast. They are very yummy. Sometimes you can have them for dessert.
Biscuits in the UK are like packets of biscuits like Oreos. That's what you call them in the UK.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what biscuits are.
Really?
Top 10 biscuits.
Top 10 biscuits?
Oreos.
Vanilla wafers.
There's these things called Jammy Dodgers.
What about Fig Newtons?
Fig Newtons are pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good. Anyway, if Rakitic is a defensive midfielder, then what is Busquets? And is he a defensive midfielder? Is he a sweeper in the midfield? Because he's their defensive midfielder. Rakitic is in there to be similar to Xavi and hold the midfield and to move forward. I think you only have one in a team of like a 4-3-3, especially like Barcelona. You've one out-and-out defensive midfielder. In Barcelona's team, it's Busquets. In Chelsea's team, it's Matic. So guys who play somewhat defensive roles are not defensive midfielders. They're just good midfielders that back up. So I think Juventus need to have more of an appearance in this with someone like Marquisio, who's grabbed goals. Vidal's got 7 goals and 4 assists this season. Good for a midfielder, especially in a low-scoring league like Serie A. I think Vidal needs to be in there considered as well. So if we throw back up the list, let's have a last quick look at anyone else who we think should make it in. I don't think
Cazorla's pretty good this year too. I don't know if he's top 10.
Yeah, I think Santi Cazorla's been instrumental for Arsenal. Raheem Sterling, we both believe should be taken out. I'd put Rakitic in there. I just think there's a lot of room for manoeuvring in here. I don't believe James Rodriguez should be anywhere near top 4. I would have to say.
I don't think Raheem Sterling should be anywhere near the top 10.
No, he shouldn't be anywhere near the top 10 in
I'd
general.
put Oscar before Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, I would put, and maybe you got to take it in retrospect with how the midfielders have helped their specific team's season.
Very importantly too, and this is important to note, this is based off where they are right now, not the history of like that's not the top 10 greatest attacking midfielders, but it's important to understand that like that's today's going into the 2015 season. That's where ESPN claims that they line up now, and that's fair. But I don't want to get into that whole argument where it's like, well, all time this player should be in that list. No. Well, we're not talking all time.
We know that Paul Scholes is the all-time best attacking midfielder.
Who?
I'm all joking. Paul Scholes, I love the Manchester United player. People will say Steven Gerrard, maybe. I don't know, there's a bunch. Zidane, who knows. But in terms of right now, Gareth Bale shouldn't be in there. He's been out of form this season. Don't think Raheem Sterling has contributed enough. Arguably, you could put in Juan Mata because he helped Manchester United in such a crucial way with goals and assists this year. Considering how much he played, he's still one of the best attacking midfielders for his team in retrospect. And it's just it's a difficult one because they don't seem to differentiate between wingers, attacking midfielders. Similar to when we did the defenders and not fullbacks, like we had to focus on central defenders. So in this, it's more like central midfielders. So we both are in agreement that certain players should be removed.
By the way, somebody once commented on our channel, the American doesn't know the difference between Gareth Bale and Christian Bale. Wrong, I do. And the difference is Gareth Bale actually can score. I mean, Christian Bale.
Oh, you just messed up your own joke.
God damn it.
You set up so much as well. We could. The thing about this is pre-recorded. We could edit that out for Jason, but there is no way I'm editing that out. That is staying in. Good joke, by the way.
Credit where credit's due. I tweeted out last week, Fred is the dad bod of footballers.
That's a good tweet. That's a good tweet. All right, so who did we miss out on this list? Who do you guys think deserves to be in the list? Top 10 attacking midfielders in the world as of this season. Leave your comments in the section below. Follow Ruben Jason at JasonRuben91 on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell. Make sure to subscribe and come back for more as we will be documenting top 10 defensive midfielders.